staff is here.
Oh, that's
Hey guys, thanks for coming.
yeah. Well, and good lighting too. That's very. Oh.
Thursday.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Abington Presbyterian Church. And I want to thank you all for coming to our final Organ Tuesday as part of the Music at Abington series and the Philadelphia chapter of the American Guild of Organists. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but I want to thank you all again for coming and being a faithful audience. It is so wonderful to have people come and listen to us, we organists, play. So I just want to thank you again for taking the time out of your day to come and listen to us. I'm really excited about today's performers. An old friend of mine, Ray Ann Anderson, who was a great help to me at my previous parish with a very large choir camp that was completely unmanageable. And somehow she was able to keep me in line and get the camp working really well. So I'm very, very thankful for her. And of course, Eric Anderson, her husband, two fantastic musicians from the Philadelphia area with a huge legacy. Ray Ann, as you may know, is at our neighbor parish down the street in Glenside, St. Paul's Lutheran. And Eric has a huge legacy in the Philadelphia settlement schools, a long-time administrator at the Queen Street and the Germantown branches. So many young people touched by his work and her work in their various places. So I'm so thrilled that you're here today and happy that we can welcome Ray Ann and Eric Anderson.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. Ray wanted me to let you know that she wants me to do the talking, or most of the talking today, because she's getting over laryngitis. And I said, you know, that can be dangerous if you let me do the talking. But anyway, we'll give it a shot. This afternoon we're going to be playing some music for you, not only just solo organ music, but also with the euphonium. And if you're not familiar with the euphonium, it's an instrument that's normally seen in the concert band. It's a member of the tuba family. And in fact, a very good friend of mine, Brian Brown, who is a fine tuba player, once described the tuba as being the most intestinal of all brass instruments. And you can see there's a lot of tubing here, but it's pitched the same as a trombone. So the trombone and the euphonium actually play a lot of the same notes together. And a lot of the pieces that Ray and I have played in the past have been pieces for trombone. There really is almost nothing that's written for euphonium and organ, so we have to kind of make things up as we go along. Very occasionally, the euphonium is used in the orchestra, and when it is used in the orchestra, it's referred to as the tenor tuba. As opposed to the euphonium, because it's just a small version of a tuba. And there are a couple of short excerpts that might be familiar to you if you know orchestral music. The first is the ox cart from Mussorgsky's Pictures in an Exhibition, and it's that wonderful orchestration by Maurice Ravel, and it's one of the few times that the euphonium actually shows up in the orchestra. The other one is, that you might be familiar with, is the movement Mars from the Planets by Gustav Holst. It's the kind of the clarion call to war is played by the tenor tuba. So that's about the only time you ever hear the euphonium in the orchestra. So I don't get many orchestra gigs playing the euphonium. But anyway, what we'd like to do next is two movements of a piece by Handel. This sonata was actually originally written for violin, and a lot of Baroque music suits itself well to this combination of the organ and the euphonium. And so this is two movements, a Siciliana and a Gigue from the Sonata number 5.
Oh, glasses. Ah, there's music.
So next on the program is the beautiful William Schumann piece, When Jesus Wept, which is a William Billings hymn tune. And it's got an interesting history. Schumann wrote this piece originally for orchestra, and it was part of three pieces, the New England Triptych, which included the hymn tunes Chester and another piece that I remembered 30 seconds ago and I can't remember now. But anyway, after a while, Schumann then made individual arrangements of each of these three for band. And that's where I first encountered When Jesus Wept. It's a really beautiful band arrangement. In the orchestral arrangement, the tune at the beginning is played by bassoon and then joined by oboe. In the band version, the tune starts with the euphonium and then is joined by the trumpet. But then Samuel Adler made this wonderful organ arrangement of When Jesus Wept, which Ray is going to play for you today. And in the band version, the piece actually starts with a very soft cadence on a side drum. And since we don't have a theater organ with a snare drum attached today, what Ray's going to do, which I think evokes the same sense of that beginning, is she's just going to play a very soft, low pedal note on the organ to start and then commence with the tune. So this is When Jesus Wept by William Schumann. Next, we'd like to play another piece not written for the euphonium and organ. This was actually written for trombone and piano by Jacques Castoret, who was a well-known French composer and taught at the Paris Conservatory, and wrote literally dozens of pieces for various brass instrument combinations, and as well as a whole body of orchestral and wind works. This sonatine for trombone and piano is it's really a wonderful piece. I played it in graduate school, and the outer movements, the first movement and the last movement, are really very angular and rhythmic, and the piano part really does not lend itself well at all to the organ. But the second movement is lyrical and quiet, and I think just a beautiful melodic piece. And I think Ray has done a really beautiful job in transcribing the piano part to the organ. So this is the second movement of the sonatine by Jacques Castoret.
So you are going to get a little bit of my croaky voice. The next piece is called Rubrics. It's from Rubrics. Rubrics in a liturgical church setting are the instructions for worship. And this particular rubric is at the time of the service where the piece is shared. And this is a time where you as a worshiper are invited to share the peace of the Lord. And then you're pulled out of your safe little nest and you turn to a neighbor and you turn to somebody and you share that peace and look them in the eyes. It creates that community, and it's something that was so taken away from us during the pandemic. And in St. Paul's, we share the peace exuberantly, but during Lent, we hold the peace inside. And we, I think, turn and look Jesus in the face and say, thank you for that peace. And we contemplate the glory and the beauty of that peace. And then on Easter morning, we greet everybody again with hugs and kisses. So this is a little bit of a meditative moment for Lent in sort of a reflection of what we at St. Paul's are doing.
So in keeping with the theme of today's program, we'd like to end with a piece also not written for the euphonium and organ. This piece actually maybe comes closer in some ways than some of the others. Ray was working on this piece a number of years ago, and I happened by, and I was sitting and listening and looking at the music. And it's called a tuba tune because there is a tuba stop on the organ. And it's particularly loud. And this one uses the tuba stop for kind of a theme, a tune that goes throughout the entire piece. So my brilliant idea was to just, why don't you not play that, and just, I'll play, every time it says tuba, I'll play, and then, and we managed to work this out, and it's been a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much for coming today. It's great to see everybody here, and we really appreciate your support with this wonderful program, and thank you to Abington Presbyterian Church for the invitation. It's oh, and to Eric Meyer, thank you very much for being here and for helping with all of this. So this is the Norman Cocker tuba tune.
Thank you.